Hi everyone, this is just a really short video just to outline the support available for MD4008 Assessment 1. So if you look under the Assessments tab on the module space, you'll see all the resources you need are there. So I'm just going to talk through them quickly now. First off, we have a PDF called Assessed Practical Slides. These are the slides that were presented to you at the start of the first Assessed Practical session. And these slides, they essentially walk you through the submission. They tell you exactly what format it should be in. They tell you exactly what it should look like. They tell you exactly what information should be included and should not be included. So all questions like that should be answered by these slides. If they're not, just send me an email. Just send me a quick email. Let me know what bit of information you think is missing, and I'll be able to answer that question and give you a little bit of advice. These slides also tell you, they give you some information on how to do well. So in the sense of, if you look at some of the later slides in this presentation, I give you some examples of, I'll give you an example of a poor answer, of a good answer, and of a very good answer. And what I'm essentially trying to do is get you to move away from very, very simple, descriptive, basic statements and move towards more detailed, more nuanced, basically more valuable answers. So these ideas of kind of introducing evaluation and discussion and analysis, they're most relevant to the longer questions. So the questions where you have, say, 8-mark or 11-mark answers. This is where you need to be discussing ideas and where you need to be interpreting things. And if you look at the wording of the questions, you'll see that. For the shorter questions, like the 3-mark questions or around that, it's a lot more about describing and explaining. So it's a lot simpler, and that's why they're shorter questions. That's why they're worth less marks. We don't really expect to see as much evaluation or discussion or things like that. So again, if you have any questions, if you think anything isn't clear after looking at these slides, just send me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. There's another PDF under the Assessments tab that might answer your question before you ask it. So if you check that first, it's called the Assessed Practical Submission FAQ, and it's essentially a compilation of questions that students have already asked me. So if you check whether your question is answered there, if it's not, then email me with the question and I'll answer it, and I'll also probably put that answer up as part of the FAQ. So I'll add it to the FAQ document just so other students can see that information. There's a key bit of information in this FAQ I can see right now that I want to mention, which is a submission deadline. So most students started the practical on January the 28th. So that means the submission deadline is March the 5th at 2 p.m. Some students, however, started the practical a few days later. So they started on January the 31st. Because they started later, they get an extra few days to submit just to make it fair. So if you started the practical on January the 31st, so that was on the Friday, I think. Was on the Friday. Then you get until March the 9th at 2 p.m. to submit. So I'm going to put 2 different submission boxes on the module space. This FAQ document also kind of reiterates the fact that we won't accept any hard copies. I think I made it pretty clear at this point that it's an electronic submission, that we won't accept hard copies of the handbook with your answers. The answers should be in essay format, written as a 2,000-word essay, and they should be submitted through the appropriate Turnitin link. So hopefully this has answered most of the questions you may have about the submission. Again, if you have any more questions, just send me an email, and I'll potentially add the answers to the FAQ. I'll always respond to any emails answering any questions you have the best I can.